Hey, this is Michael with digitaltshirtshop.com. So, wanted to go over the monthly financials with you for the month of March. And I'm just doing this in a spreadsheet. It should be pretty easy to talk about all the little things because, I mean, we just don't, there's not a lot to our financials. So, the first thing that we have here is we had a carryover amount from February of 204. That's assuming the $200 a month for the printer and the cost of the items that we added to Etsy. Now, we did apply for Amazon this last month. I'm putting Amazon in the revenue column, and I'm kind of doing that for a reason. Pretty much anything from Amazon that comes is either going to be a revenue or an expense, and that it lump sums it to us. Everything else is going to be kind of minused out before it leaves Amazon and comes to us. So it's kind of going to be treated a little bit differently. And I do have an Amazon summary here. We'll go over, and I'm probably going to make a complete separate video about it because I'd like to talk briefly about it. But anyways, that summary, whatever is deposited or charged from Amazon, is just going to come in right there. In this case, it was a negative $39.99 for the seller account on Amazon. Now, sales, we had $237.68 in sales. Those sales were basically right here on Etsy, a combination of 5 sales that totaled 16 shirts. And here are the shirts right here. This is the cost per shirt, the cost of printing per shirt. And I think my cost per printing might be just a little bit less than this, but more like 40 cents. But I'm going to leave it at 50 cents because I don't mind estimating high. The cost per postage for all the packages that we mailed, and the additional supplies used for mailing. Now, for example, if I was to come and look at what I collected in postage fees, I collected 25.84. It actually cost me 27.62. But if you add the other postage supplies in there, it actually cost 28, a little over $29, 29.05. Now, we did a flat rate freight at 299. In most cases, if we do first class postage to somebody, it's always going to be under 299, as long as it's under 8 ounces. If it's over 8 ounces, it's always going to cost us $3 to $3.50. As you can see with this one, in this particular case, it weighed over three. It had to have weighed over 8 ounces. Same with this one. This was 2 shirts that weighed over 8 ounces, but under a pound. Under a pound, it has to go priority mail. 8 ounces or more, there's a higher first class rate. Under 8 ounces is kind of the sweet spot where you're paying under the $3 and freight for U.S. Postal. So, but 16 shirts, 5 transactions totaling 237.68, minusing the Amazon, we were in the it brought us down to 197.69. Now here are other fees. Etsy's going to be charging us. Here's a breakdown of the Etsy. Now this Etsy bill is not including the pattern site, and the pattern site's going to be an additional $15 a month. And for some reason I didn't see it last month. I haven't seen it on April so far, so we're going to have to watch and see if they actually drop the pattern site or if they actually start charging us for it. But I haven't seen a charge for it yet, unless it's being completely charged separately. But these are listing fees, transaction fees, renewal fees for items that have been, they are over 40 days. I mean, not over 40 days, over 4 months, there'll be a renewal fee. And then every time we sell an item, they charge us to relist the item. Uh, Promoted listings, these are the promotions where we're having it featured on Etsy or we're having it featured on Google. The Google shopping fees, those will all come out of this promoted listing fees. And then we're not doing any of our shipping through Amazon. I'm doing it all through stamps.com. So all in all, we had 1863 in Etsy fees. I'm gonna assume the pattern fee because I'm sure it got charged to me somewhere. I'd have to probably go look at my bank statement and check and make sure that there was a separate charge for it. We did do a DBA in Utah. There's our printer. This is the cost of our shirt. So I did go through shirt by shirt and assume the price. Now our 2XL shirts, remember how we listed them for $2 more per shirt? They actually cost considerably more per shirt. So in this case, 406 instead of what might have traditionally been $1.70. So it's costing us $2.30 more per shirt. The postage, what it actually cost us in postage, what it actually cost us in supplies. Now, the supplies, one of the interesting things I'm doing here is that every time you notice how these aren't just the same. The mailers are all basically the same. The labels are basically the same. The ink's basically the same. But the stickers, I'm giving them a sticker per t-shirt. So in this case, he got 9 or 10 stickers, and he got two or whatever, whoever the sale was for. And I haven't actually done the business cards yet. Once I do those, you'll probably have an extra 2 or 3 cents per transaction that we would assess in a fee here. Now, I am probably making a mistake here because I'm double charging us an expense here on the stickers. So if I'm charging the sticker here and then I'm charging the sticker here on supplies, well, then I'm double charging us. So I probably ought to exclude the sticker price here because I'm including the sticker price here as a one-time expense. Or I ought to just take it out here and I ought to include it here. I ought to do one or the other. I shouldn't do both. So that is a mistake that I have on here. We did buy a mic so that I could make these videos a little bit better, and we did pay for a Screencastify subscription that we talked about in another video. And actually, I thought it was $29, but it was actually $24 that they charged me for the whole year with it. And that gives us a total of expenses of $399.65. Now, if you notice, we only brought in like 200. We had 400 in expenses. We started with 200 in expenses. We're like totally in the hole again. Another negative 201.87, which puts us in the hole a total of 406.27. Now, it gets exciting. We're selling shirts. But we have just ended up in the hole just as much as we ended up in the hole last month. And now we're at a total of 406.27 in the hole, which is further in the hole than we expected to be and further in the hole than we were last month. And we're not even gaining ground on it. So when we talk about running a business, is it easy to start a business? Is it easy to generate a profit? Is it easy to generate sales? As you can see here, now we haven't put a lot of time and effort into this other than we put items on Etsy. We jumped through all the hoops for a month putting things on Amazon. Now we've started generating Etsy sales. We've started generating Amazon sales. But I've done a little math right here, and then we lowered the price of our t-shirts. That's going to make it a little harder as well because we're bringing in less money per t-shirt. So right here, we're looking at what was Q20? Q20. Okay, so I figured out that we're making a profit of about 72% per shirt. If I take $11.99 and figure it at 72% of that, it's going to take us 47 t-shirts to just make up the 406 that we're in the hole. Now, next month, we're going to also have, at a minimum, the printer. Now, this is again already taking into expense the cost per t-shirt expense. So as long as we didn't have lots of other expenses next month, in order to break even by the end of next month, we're going to need to have sold 70 shirts to make up for the previous losses and to get to where we want to be for at even just a break even 70 t-shirts. So what is 70 t-shirts? I mean, it is divided by 30 days. I mean, it's like 2.3 shirts per day. Last month, we sold 16 t-shirts. And that was only 5 transactions. One, we were lucky enough to have one person buy 10 t-shirts. So 16 t-shirts, that's about half of a shirt per day. We're going to need to actually increase that by 500% and go from half a shirt a day up to nearly 2.5 shirts per day. um, if I stop and I start thinking about it, I start going, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's going to take forever to do that, or it's going to be hard to do that. Now, it's not necessarily going to be hard. We've had 4 transactions in 4 days. It's actually very early on the fifth day of the month so far. So we're averaging one shirt a day so far. So we're actually improving on last month for the first 4 days of the month, as long as we keep selling shirts. Um, so we've doubled our sales pretty much at this point, as long as we can keep that up through the whole month. Now, again, we haven't listed everything on Amazon. I've got more stuff to add on Etsy. But some things you've got to consider is we may have doubled the sales. We're averaging one a month, one a day for the month so far, but we're promoting listings. That's going to be an added expense. Now, some of these other things we're not going to be buying again for a long time, like the stickers. We won't have the Screencastify for another year. I'm not buying another mic. We don't have to register the DBA again for another year. Um, but the Etsy fees will continue. The pattern site will continue. The Amazon account will continue. So, it's, I mean, without going out and doing some other type of marketing to draw people in for this business. For example, if this was a different type of t-shirt shop where I was actually starting my own home t-shirt shop, I would probably go and start telling friends about it, neighbors about it. I'd probably go start telling people, hey, I could print some shirts for you. And I'd probably would be able to make up that 70 shirts a lot quicker. That's not something I'm going to do in this case. We're going to primarily focus on the online sales. We're primarily going to focus on the Amazon, the Etsy. Now, if I do have another venue that I want to add, a third channel to sell the shirts through, I'll go ahead and add that, and we'll talk about that as well. But at this point, we're going to focus on those two, Amazon and Etsy. So we are kind of shooting ourselves in the foot just a little bit, in that I'm not going and selling to neighbors and friends and promoting it that way. But as you can see, at this point, it's not moving that fast, and and we're kind of going down deeper than you would anticipate or expect that we would be going in the wrong direction. So, but I'm still feel confident that we're going to get out of this. We're going to get out of this little hole that we're in. It is just a matter of finding things that people are interested in buying, getting those products listed, and then, letting the sites promote them so that we can generate some sales off of those. There is another, you can actually promote listings on Amazon as well. I'll probably try that at some point on this as well. Previously, as I've done that, I don't know that it's necessarily helped a lot, but it does get your product seen. But I don't know that a lot of times, let's say I'm looking for a t-shirt on Amazon. Am I looking for that brand? Am I looking for digital t-shirt shop t-shirts? And that I'm not so sure about. I would think that they're looking for a specific type of t-shirt with a specific type of image, and they don't really care who they're buying it from. And a lot of that, I think, is mirrored in how FBA works and Amazon works in general. They're looking for that product. They don't care who they're buying it from. And sometimes they're buying a knockoff. Sometimes on Amazon they're buying a pirated version of something. So anyways, but this is the basics of the financials. I do have April started as well a little bit. We just are barely into April, so it does no good to really look at it. Um, and we're in the hole, further in the hole. So that's about where we're at, and we're gonna leave it at that. So